In Part 2 of the Gender Wealth Strategy mini-course, you will learn about the gender wealth gaps and the root cause creating and perpetuating these gaps. We'll provide evidence that the current system of finance and investment does not work for women and 95% of small and medium-sized enterprises in the US, Canada, and world. The gender wealth gaps refer to disparities in funding, assets, and pay that women experience relative to men. The 4X funding gap is a form of gender bias and discrimination many women business owners and entrepreneurs have experienced. And as you'll see, this result is related to the lack of female representation in the ranks of angel and venture capital investors, as well as at senior management positions in large companies, including the majority of banks and investment firms. The asset and pay gaps are linked, and they're also driving the racial wealth gaps that exist in the United States, the wealthiest nation on the planet. For women of color, the percentages presented here are even lower and even more distressing. As we carefully analyzed and traced the root cause of these wealth gaps, we kept coming back to a system of finance and investment built on inflexible debt and equity models, addicted to short-term profit and focused exclusively on the needs of lenders and investors, who are predominantly men. This stands in stark contrast to the needs of women and he-for-she advocates for flexible capital, sustainable investments that generate positive impact, and lower-risk investing opportunities that build long-term financial security and wealth. This first slide presents a fraction of the evidence we discovered about the current system of finance and investment, a biased and broken system that works against women and he-for-she advocates. We believe that if not transformed, this system will restrain and limit the positive impact of the 3 paradigm shifts presented in Part 1 of this mini-course. Note the last bullet point on the lack of women decision-makers in the world of investment and business. This second slide presents additional evidence of a biased and broken system working against women and he-for-she advocates. Note the low financial returns achieved by a majority of private equity, venture capital, and stock market investors. Bottom line, these low returns are inadequate for building long-term financial security and wealth. This third slide presents still more evidence. Note the last bullet point. In the last 18 years, the average investor, that's you and me, spent 10.5 of these years just getting back to where we were before the 2000 Silicon Valley crash and 2008 housing market crash. Do you now see why so many women and men feel that they can't get ahead financially? After reviewing these 3 slides, ask yourself, is this a stable and sustainable system that puts my needs first and works for me and my business or family? So, what if we shifted our mindset and expectation regarding this biased and broken system? What if we could redesign the system to put the needs of women business owners, entrepreneurs, investors, and he-for-she advocates ahead of the needs of investors and lenders? What if we could figure out a way to share power, control, and money with each other to create an inclusive economy and a more equitable world? What if we could use revenue-based growth capital to advance gender equality, women's rights, and not just talk about, but actually close the gender wealth gaps? We're going to give you an assignment today. Consider the 4 sets of design criteria from the previous slide. How would you use these criteria to design a new system of finance and investment? How would you change and improve the current biased and broken system? In Part 3 of this mini-course, we'll present the Women's Wealth System, an inclusive and sustainable system of finance and investment we created to close the gender wealth gaps and build financial security and wealth for women and he-for-she advocates around the world.